scariest heart attack is the one nobody sees coming. You can have normal cholesterol, normal blood pressure, you can exercise, you can be lean, and have never smoked. And your first sign of heart disease can still be a heart attack. That is what makes this disease so dangerous. Not just because it kills, but because it can stay silent for years. Heart disease is still the #1 killer worldwide. And in the United States, about 805,000 heart attacks happen each year, with about 605,000 being a first heart attack. It is the event. Sometimes the very first sign is a heart attack itself. That's what's most shocking, because they looked and felt normal. They thought normal meant safe. So why does this happen? The plaque in the coronaries that cause the emergency is often not the plaque most people expect. Most people imagine one giant blockage, 90% blocked, like a clogged pipe. And yes, those plaques can cause symptoms like shortness of breath, chest pressure, angina with exertion. But many heart attacks, actually most heart attacks, come from a different kind of plaque. Plaque that may not block enough blood flow to cause the classic warning symptoms. A plaque that is almost undetectable by current medical standards. Heavy, high-fat meals can temporarily worsen vascular stress and endothelial function. And in vulnerable people, they can act as a trigger for an acute event, the heart attack. Think of two very different types of plaque. One is the big, stable blockage. It narrows the arteries so much that when you exercise, the demand of the blood flow cannot keep up. That gives you symptoms. That gets attention, the doctor visit. Then there's the dangerous hidden plaque. It may be less obstructive. You feel nothing, no symptoms. But if the cap over that plaque becomes unstable, it can rupture and a blood clot can form in seconds to minutes. Now the artery is suddenly blocked. That is the heart attack. This is why someone can pass a routine checkup, stress tests, and still be in danger. Your blood pressure may look fine, your standard cholesterol may not look scary, you may be active, you may be fit, and yet the biology inside the vessel wall may already be moving in the wrong direction. Inflammation, oxidation, endothelial injury, that's the blood vessel wall, plaque formation, plaque instability. Now here's where it gets even more important. Normal stress test does not mean you do not have plaque. A normal ECG does not mean you do not have plaque. An echo does not rule out coronary plaque. And a calcium scan does not show every dangerous type of plaque. A calcium artery CT scan is useful because if your score is above 0, you have coronary atherosclerosis. That means you have calcified plaque that's been built up over decades. But it does not directly show all non-calcified plaque. Coronary CT angiography, different type of CT with contrast dye, can show plaque more directly, including non-calcified plaque and higher risk features. So if you really want to know your risk, there are levels to testing. First, a calcium scan, quick, simple, low radiation, very useful. Second, advanced blood work, ApoB, lipoprotein small a. Sometimes those tell you more about the risk than the standard lipid panel alone. Third, if any of these are elevated or you have evidence of calcified plaque, you need a coronary CT angiogram. That is the bigger test. It's more expensive. It uses contrast dye injected into your veins to visualize your heart blood vessels. It exposes you to radiation. But it can show the actual plaque in the coronary arteries, including low attenuated plaque and other higher risk plaque features that have the chance to burst and form that clot, leading to a sudden heart attack. Advanced plaque analysis platforms built on the CT angiogram can quantify plaque burden, how much, where, and what type. Here's the hard truth. Most people are not being screened at the level needed to detect this early enough. So they wait for symptoms, but symptoms are often too late. That is why the first event prevention matters so much, because your first sign of heart disease, it should not be a heart attack. So what do you do if you want to stabilize dangerous plaque? First, stop injuring the endothelium. The endothelium is a thin inner lining of the blood vessel. It's one cell layer thick. It produces a miracle molecule, nitric oxide, one of the most important protective molecules in vascular biology. Nitric oxide keeps the artery calm, flexible, resistant to inflammation and clotting and producing plaques. But when the endothelium is damaged, the whole environment of the vessel wall changes. Now the artery becomes more inflammatory, more adhesive, more prone to plaque progression. This is a vicious cycle. Exercise training has been shown to improve endothelial function and nitric oxide dependent vasodilation. So what damages the endothelium? Smoking, heavy alcohol exposure, repeated metabolic stress, high-fat challenge meals can impair endothelial function for hours after eating. That's one reason I became so aggressive in my own protocol. I only had high LDL as a risk factor for my 77% clogged arteries. I drastically lowered that from 168 milligrams per deciliter to just 61 in 12 weeks. 64% reduction with no meds, plus my protocol healed my endothelial cells. So what should you do? You should remove smoking, alcohol, all oils, foods high in saturated fat, animal foods, seafoods, eggs, dairy. And because I wanted to drive fat intake very low, I also removed nuts, avocado, coconut from my personal protocol. This is based on the studies that Dr. Esselstyn did. That's my protocol. The goal was simple: stop injuring the endothelium, restore nitric oxide, calm the inflammatory environment, stabilize the plaque. Heavy, high-fat meals are associated with transient post-meal endothelial dysfunction, vascular stress, although not all fats have identical effects in every study. So then, after I removed those foods, I added and replaced them with foods that help the endothelium recover. Mostly greens, 6 times a day. Chew them, add balsamic vinegar. They're a secondary source of nitric oxide and they also heal the endothelium. Vegetables, pomegranate juice, just 50 to 100 mils per day. Lots of garlic, lots of beans, especially lentils and black beans. Foods rich in nitrate and antioxidants, because your body can convert the dietary nitrate into nitrite in your mouth with the bacteria in your mouth, and then in your stomach acid, convert that into nitric oxide. This gives you a backup pathway to support nitric oxide biology. And yes, the mouth matters so much. The bacteria in your mouth helps with this nitrate in the green leafy vegetables and foods to nitrite conversion. Then comes exercise, but here's the key: start slow, then build. As your internal environment improves and the plaque becomes more stable, you can do more. You get more blood flow. Exercise even helps you give you more endothelial repair and more nitric oxide. So I do high intensity interval training, HIIT, 3 times per week, and lighter exercise 2 times per week. HIIT is an exercise where it's hard for you to talk. You're out of breath. Your heart rate is about 80 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. I'm a competitive cyclist. I cycle up mountains, but I would not tell everyone to start with HIIT. You build into it. Exercise is medicine, like food is medicine, but like every medicine, dose matters. Across many studies, regular exercise improves endothelial function, and higher intensity gives you higher efficiency, 11 times more than just moderate exercise intensity. But the right starting point depends on each person. You determine that for yourself. For me, one of the biggest moments was seeing what happened on my follow-up CT angiography. Even with a 77% blockage in my diagonal 1 branch, dangerous low attenuation plaque was no longer present on any of my plaques in my heart arteries. That means my risk of rupture is essentially 0. because that is the kind of plaque you need to worry about rupturing. You want to stabilize that low attenuated plaque that has the risk of bursting. CT angiography-based plaque analysis is one of the few ways to assess plaque type, burden, and the level in that detail. But it does come with a cost, and it is invasive with contrast dye. So here's the message. Do not assume that you are safe because you look healthy. How many people have you heard that they suddenly dropped of a heart attack and they look fit and healthy, or they look normal? Do not assume you are safe because one routine test was normal. If you're over the age of 40, if you have family history, if you have diabetes or prediabetes, if you have elevated ApoB or elevated Lp(a), or if you simply have high LDL cholesterol like myself, you likely have plaque. Do you need a calcium scan? If you're over 40, you should at least get a baseline. Do I need ApoB? Good measure to have. Do I need lipoprotein A? Yes. It's a genetic risk factor. Do I need a coronary CT angiogram? Well, it depends on these previous tests, what they show you. Because guessing is not prevention. Seeing is prevention. And if one person you love looks healthy but it has hidden plaque, this video could save their life. Send it to them right now. Because the first sign of heart disease should not be the last chance to find it. Subscribe as I will explain how to detect, diffuse, and reverse plaque, diabetes, and other diseases that ail us. These videos save lives. Tag me, like, subscribe, and ask your questions below. Click one of these videos and share it with someone you love. Together, we will save lives. For my up-to-date learnings and more, visit me at ham.com.